Hi guys, game update 50 is up on the PC test server, and I'm gonna give you some of the details about it right now. I must say, looking at it, there's not a whole lot to it, but what there is really good. These are some things that we have been, well, I don't know if everybody has, but they're things that I've kind of been wanting for a long time. And one of them's probably not that big of a deal to me now because I've gone past that stage, but the main one, the first one that's on there, is about new duos coming to tier 4, and these will be missions that were from the leveling up section, so that's from level 1 to 30. Iconic kind of missions and stuff are going to be added as duos for heroes and villains. So people have been asking for a very long time, pretty much while tier 4 was first out and everything, that it needed more content, and because it was mostly sort of raids and the operations. I think there was a couple of alerts as well. But there's no real solos and duos or anything. Let me just get the on duty tab up, and now I can actually show you what you've got for tier 4 and stuff. So if we go into the single player solo stuff, it goes tier 3, then tier 5, tier 6. So we don't actually have any solo content in tier 4, which is kind of odd. I mean, there really should be something. I mean, you've got the outdoor stuff, which is the home turf DLC that gives you the outside stuff in Gotham and Metropolis. In Gotham, it's Ace Chemicals. You've got the solo missions that you can do outside or group up, and then you can do an indoor instance. Which is definitely solo, but the outside stuff you could kind of team up and do that. And the same for Metropolis, where Strikers Island is. You've got the solo stuff there, but you can team up for it. And then you've got an instance inside. You've got a couple of bounties outside as well. When you go into duos, there's no tier 4 stuff there. You've got tier 5, tier 6, tier 7, then it goes tier 3. And tier 4 player content, you've got the free tier 4 alert, which is the Inner Sanctum one, and after that it's an operation, the Wayward Souls tier 4, and then other than that it's mostly raids and operations. So you got Gates of Tartarus and Prime Battleground. I can't speak today. It's too hot, that's why. Operations, you've got Op 1 and Op 2, as they're called in game, but with Vengeance and Black Dawn. So you've got kind of 4 8-player things, 2 4 player. You've got no 2-player or really any 1-player stuff. But you've got a sort of open world area in both Metropolis and Gotham. So yeah, so anyway, that's that part. So there's going to be some new duos, and the minimum combat rating is 70 and recommended combat rating is 70 plus. Let me just quickly have a look at what the exact things are. You'll be fighting alongside Wonder Woman and Circe in Shadowlands. You'll enter the Watchtower and witness the ever-present struggle between Lex Luthor and Superman, and Hall of Doom recovery for heroes, Star Labs satellite for both heroes and villains, and enter the Batcave and face Brainiac's android versions of Batman and the Joker. So it doesn't look like it's tied to any DLCs or anything, so hopefully this is free stuff. Well, it should be free stuff. It is really just rehash stuff from the leveling up section. So you've got that. Then you've got Lockout timer, We have exposed loot lockout timers in the UI. No more guessing when time's up. Just look in the on-duty UI and the content you are loot locked from. At the top of the description panel, you will now see a line that indicates how long you have on that instant loot lockout. So it looks like it's just a thing for the on-duty tab, like just to let you know if if you've just done a raid or something like that, then it will let you know when's the sort of next time for doing it. So for newer players who don't kind of maybe not sure about how it all works and stuff, normally like 8-player content is weekly, so it resets on a Thursday, and that's every Thursday, and then 4-player duos, solo stuff, all that kind of thing is it resets daily, and that's normally when the server resets. So for here in the for the EU, it's I think it's still at 4 AM in the morning. It resets, and then once the servers come back on, about half hour or so, whatever it is now, afterwards, everything's reset except from the raids and 8-player operations and stuff. So I guess that's just going to let people know how long they've got to wait if they're not sure, if they're not kind of used to how that all works out and stuff, how it all kind of resets and stuff. So it's a bit more information in the on-duty tab, basically, just to let people know. So that's that. There's some power revisions to nature, hard light and electricity, advanced mechanics, and probably my favourite thing about this, and probably will be quite a lot of people's favourite thing, is there's now improvements to damage and healing over time stacking rules. So this was things where if you had 2 people with the same power in DPS or healing, and they used the same sort of powers, they kind of would override each other if they were damage over time or healing over time things, that they would kind of overwrite each other's. That doesn't happen anymore, so they've finally sorted that out now. So that works with that, and for controllers, if there's 2 controllers in a piece of content, and kind of like normally what would happen is one controller can give the power over time, and the other one will just have to do sort of like the debuffing and everything, and the kind of the bursts of power, and that's kind of all they can do. Obviously still going to be kind of like that, they can't have 2 people giving power over time, but when people would override each other's thing now, well, how it used to be, they'd override each other's power over times. What happens now is if 2 people try to do power over time at the same time, it will go to the person who's got the highest vitalization. So there's no worries about someone who's like got kind of half the bit of someone else kind of keep overriding that person's power over time. So that's a really good thing. Obviously it's good for things like if the main controller goes down and the secondary controller has to give power over time, and the first one is gets back up and can give power straight away, and doesn't have to worry about sort of like the other person sort of overriding them again. So the secondary controller can give power while the first one's down. When the first one gets up, he can cast the power of time move, and that will sort of like then make him the person who's giving out the power. If the secondary controller then tries to again give out the power over time, it won't actually override. It will just do the animations and everything, and probably the damage if it's got sort of a damage to it, but it won't actually give the power over time. So that's kind of probably one of my favourite things about these updates that have been coming out lately. Is that's one of the things that people have been asking for as well, is that they kind of get to the point where they can do this now, where they can allow people to have the same powers and not have to override each other. So this should be better for when when you're in an 8-player piece of content and there's 2 or 3 people with the same power. You don't have to worry about anyone overriding each other anymore. So that's the main bits really from there. There's some bits for the powers and stuff, like I said, the nature, the hard light and electricity, but it's probably best you go check that out for the exact things. I think for my power, electricity, it's mostly stayed the same. There's a couple of powers that have had their damage increased, and the sort of the electrocharge thing that gave you the power back after certain powers, instead of it giving it to you all in one lot, it's over a period of about 12 seconds now, but otherwise it's mostly the same. It's just a couple of little changes, I guess. It looks like nature's had the biggest change, but probably best to check that out for yourselves on there, as I don't use nature, so I wouldn't really sort of know if it's for the better or not. So yeah, go check that out for yourself. So that's it for this one. That's it for game update 50. That's on the PC test server now. Hopefully it's about 2-3 weeks it'll be out for all servers. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.